from Messages from Heaven by Janie on YouTube. And I'm trying to think of what I probably should be saying, something about being a stand in grandmother. Um, and that's fine. I can be that and probably am that. I have a cold. It's going away actually. Okay, but that's why my voice sounds especially deep. Um, okay, and I don't have lipstick on because it was I would say rotting my lips. That's what I felt like saying. It it was damaging them. So what I've read is that some of the makeup that comes out of China has ingredients that are not healthy and that can damage your skin. And I'm wondering, I threw out the red lipstick that I had, and I don't know, I'm waiting. Well, eventually I get other ones, but I'm not sure that just because I would pay more that the product would be healthier, better, because that isn't always true. Um, I think when I talk about things, how expensive things are, you don't always get what you pay for. I mean, a lot of expensive things, handbags, for example, are not made well. I bought, what did I buy? There's a couple of designer handbags a while ago, and I thought, this, they're not always leather. And if you don't want leather, which I understand, it should be made well regardless whether it's leather or um, imitation leather or God knows what. But I did not find that they were made better. Um, right now, all I use is some kind of lap, one of those things that what do they call them, tummy bags or something, belly bags. I don't know, because it's not doesn't put it doesn't pull on your neck or your upper back or your shoulder, depending on how where the weight is distributed. It can really cause you a problem. And I've already broken my left shoulder, and years ago I had surgery on my right shoulder. I don't want any more. And I've got a lot of stuff in front of me to pack up and stuff like that, and I can't afford to have broken bones. Okay. Um, One of the things that I need to say is I may have deleted the my episode about the trees and the plants, my garden, and I can't tell from this. What I'm using right now is my tablet, and if I find that I did delete it because I am, boy, am I bad with computers. Um, Nobody here gets your grandma. Uh, that's fine. Go get your own grandmother. I don't have to be your grandmother. It's the idea is that what I say is what I would say to my grandchildren. I do have grandchildren, and I talk to them all the time, and I'm with them a lot. I spend every Saturday during the school year with my two youngest ones, and I'm missing another one who's a year younger. So, okay. Family was what I thought we would talk about. That's what I got from the hi. Hi to everybody. I am thrilled to see you. You cannot imagine how happy I am with all of this. It's really, um, it's, what's the word? Um, it's just wonderful for self esteem. I mean, to do a program like this. So, family, Um, I get along with my family, but lots of people do not. It depends. I fought with my mother. Boy, I fought with her after she died. I mean, I still have arguments with her. I don't agree with her. Um, I know that we were best friends in another life. I don't know when. I have an idea, but we were friends and maybe sisters. Um, Hola, yeah. Uh, and I guess I thought that she would be a great mother, which she was, a wonderful grandmother, the best. I mean, she was wonderful. Um, but we really didn't get along very well when I was between the ages of maybe 9 and 16. Mm-mm. Um, Sometimes that can really be a problem. My mother had friends who sent their daughter to a reform school near Philadelphia, and they ruined her life. I mean, they she went from the reform school to they sent her to a psychiatric hospital, the free one in the Philadelphia area, and eventually, 50 years later, when they um, discharged her, there was, I mean, she had had two children. They gave up her son after he was 2 years old. These were nice people, but not that kind, not nice in that way. Um, I can't say, but I mean, I can say what they did was without forethought, and that I don't know what would have been the remedy for that kind of stuff. I mean, to not think about what might happen and you're in charge of that person's life is pretty scary because you don't know what will happen, and it's hard to know what to do if you don't want to. I would not want to be in charge of anybody else's life, not really. Um, One of the problems I see is that some parents, grandparents, have old ideas. Um, they they're still pining for um, prayers in school. We used to say prayers every morning when we went into school. We said the Pledge of Allegiance. This is the United States, of course. And then the teacher would read a prayer. Do you think the kids listened to the prayer? Do you think the kids cared that it in some way, by through osmosis, they became caring citizens? No. Um, I guess it might have helped if they went to church or temple um, on the weekends, and it would have helped if their parents were moral people. But prayers in school, kids are going to ignore them. It's just not where kids are at, and it's just that alone is not going to make a difference. If you put the 10 Commandments, which are wonderful, but if you make them 15 feet full, 15 feet tall, and maybe 20 feet wide, maybe they'll notice them. Just maybe, because I wouldn't be sure that they would. Um, and then you'd have to go over them with the kids because the kids probably wouldn't be looking at them. They'd be thinking about other things and not concerned about some sign in the school. They really wouldn't care. Um, okay. When I was a kid, I'm not saying this is good. In fact, it's the opposite. There were no autistic kids. Now, there were, but they weren't allowed in school. You never saw them in school. Never. There were no kids in wheelchairs. One day, I think he came for 2 days, a boy was sent into our class in a wheelchair. And I think he made a little bit of noise. Well, that was it. He was never allowed back. 2 days. That's all he got. Um, so one girl had polio, which during the 50s and early 60s, I'm not sure when Salk's vaccine came out, but she had polio and she wore a brace on her from her knee down. Um, and then she never showed up again. I don't know what happened, but schools did not allow kids in who had physical or emotional disabilities. If you would, God forbid, stand on a desk in in school in the 1950s, you've been thrown out. You would expelled. You could get sent to the principal's office for chewing gum. That's all you had to do. Not a big deal. Um, if intellectual challenges in elementary school when I went, um, if kids had disabilities, intellectual disabilities, they just weren't in school. Weren't allowed in school. Now they are. Problem now is that everything goes, and everything shouldn't. Um, Kids should not have to deal with kids standing and running around on desks and screaming. I mean, that how are you going to learn? How are you going to listen to the teacher? How are you going to do anything if you have that kind of stuff going on in the classroom? Okay. Some kids, of course, in Philadelphia, some kids have, or really any big city in the United States, kids are going to have criminal charges. When my husband worked in the school for the school district many years ago, there were kids with criminal charges against them. We still in the United States still have it's supposed to be less this year or this in 24. We have kids who have gotten guns, and then we had so many murders of children by other children, teenagers, and sometimes young adults shooting kids on the street. We moved from an area of Philadelphia that was very safe because neither one of us could really deal with the steps, and we wanted a house where we could have gardens because Harry used to grow vegetables, and so we moved. Um, and last year, somebody got out of a car in our old neighborhood and shot kids. They weren't caught. A lot of times, they're not caught. Um, okay, okay, and for the opposite direction where I did not come from, there are wealthy families who don't realize that everyone does not have opportunities. Everybody doesn't. I mean, how are you going to have, how are you going to do well in school if you don't have access to bathing? If you can't, there's nowhere for you to do that. Or maybe you can do it once in a while, but you can't do it every day because you're not using, it's not yours. You're using somebody else's, and you don't want to push your luck. You don't want them to stop letting, you want to be able to keep doing it, but you can't do it all the time. And teenagers smell. You have to use deodorant. You have to take showers and use deodorant. It's just the way it is because your hormones are changing. It's not something you say, let there be smell. No. And it's only in puberty that happens. Everything is changing, and you're probably at the strongest you will be in your entire life. Um, in in the oh my goodness, from the 8th century and long before, um, till the last century, kids were getting married at 14, 15. Well, they were shorter lifespans, but their hormones are working and they're interested in the other sex and all that stuff. And so, since they were going to die young anyway, it made sense. They got married as babies, basically. Um, so, no, everybody doesn't have the same opportunities. Some kids, I mean, they have to sleep and they sleep on beds that have bugs. What are they going to do? I don't know the answer. I know that it's not something they can help. And it's just there are bad situations that don't have a quick answer. Um, what else? I can't read what I wrote. Well, I guess I won't read it because I can't. I don't know what I wrote. So um, I don't know if I want to tell you about the trees. Um, I love the trees. You know, I look at every day at the magnolia out front that I planted, and I love it. It's such a beautiful tree. There are some that plants like the magnolia and the camellias that bloom in the early spring, so it's usually still cold, um, maybe getting a little warmer, but it's still cold, and it tells you spring is coming, which is really nice. And then everything starts after the magnolias and the what's the other one? It smells really wonderful. After they bloom, then it really everything starts blooming. You know, one after the other. You know, the rhododendrons. I think they bloom early too. Um, I don't know. The this last year, the roses of Sharon didn't really bloom. I don't know why not. They just didn't have a good year. So where are you? I got lots of highs. Wait a minute. I want to see this. Navmoni. Okay. Guess what? It's my birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I did. Um, you wrote it wrong. You mean come get your grandma. Yeah, I love when I love to see them. Um, so somebody wrote hi 27,000 times, and that's okay. Um, I think really that's it for me. If you would, if you like this, will you please press the like button? If you have anything to say, write a comment. If you want to talk to me or ask me, ask me really a question, just write to SpiritsbyJaynee at gmail.com, and I'll get it, and I'll be able to answer you. Anything about spirits. I did a reading this afternoon, and I can talk to any spirit. That includes spirits all over the world. I have talked to spirits for people in Africa, India, um, the countries in Eastern Europe that I can't think of the names, um, England, so and the United States, Mexico. Um, no big deal. They come, and it's very nice. So thank you again. Don't forget, um, get a or sign. What do you call it? Subscribe if you are interested, and push the button for like. And that's it. That's really it. Okay. I'll say goodbye. It's been fast this time, and hopefully it will be fine. All right. I can't think of anything else I have to say. All right. Take care, sweetie pies. Okay. And I'm old, I can say that. I'm 77, so I can say sweetie pies. Because even if you are 77, I can call you sweetie pie. Take care. All right. Bye-bye, sweeties. It's not working. Okay.